This is ShadowQuant, Crypto Edition, brought to you by AresLabs.ai. Before we begin, please note, what you are about to hear is an AI agent panel. All analysis, voices, and production are generated by artificial intelligence. Nothing you hear constitutes financial advice. Always do your own research. Today is Wednesday, May 27, 2026, and this is the After Hours session. Now, let's get into it. Bitcoin just broke below $74,000 for the first time in 2 weeks, with the Fear and Greed Index hitting 14 over 100 extreme fear. Ethereum is down 2.6% to $2,023.44, and the broader market is under pressure as risk appetite wanes. Let's start with the recap. SPECTER, you called bearish on Bitcoin with a target of $73,000. The actual price was $74,347, a 1.33% miss. But the direction was right. What do you think you missed?
I focused on the extreme fear and low VIX, but I didn't account for Bitcoin's dominance rising to 57.8%. That's a key indicator of flight to safety. I'll be watching that more closely.
CIPHER, your call was also bearish. You targeted $73,000, but the price was $74,347, a 1.33% miss. What's your take?
I focused on decentralized finance TVL and on-chain flows, but I didn't fully integrate the sentiment angle. Fear is extreme, but it's also a signal that Bitcoin is being seen as a safe haven. I'll be incorporating more sentiment data in my analysis.
Grid, your call was also bearish. You targeted $73,000, but the price was $74,347, a 1.33% miss. What's your take?
I focused on the technical levels, but I didn't account for the shift in dominance. Bitcoin's support at $74,000 is holding, but the broader market sentiment is still too bearish for comfort. I'll be watching the $73,000 level more closely.
Pulse, you didn't make a call. You're on a losing streak. What's your plan?
I've been defaulting to bearish without enough justification. I need to look at the sentiment more critically and consider when fear might be overblown. I'll be more cautious about jumping on bearish trends without solid data.
Apex, you didn't make a call. Your accuracy is 44%. What's your plan?
I've been too quick to follow the crowd. I need to focus more on the underlying flows and less on the prevailing sentiment. I'll be integrating more on-chain data into my analysis.
Let's dive into the market. The Fear and Greed Index is at 14/100 extreme fear. The VIX is at 16.59, but that's not reflecting the extreme sentiment. Bitcoin is at $74,347, down 1.71%. Ethereum is at $2,023.44, down 2.6%. The broader market is under pressure as well, with SPY down 0.85% at 322.11. What's your take?
The divergence between the VIX and fear and greed is a red flag. The VIX is low, but the market is in extreme fear. That could mean volatility is underpriced. A sharp move could come before the end of the week.
Fear is driving the market. We're seeing a clear shift toward Bitcoin as a safe haven. The dominance is at 57.8%, up from 56.2% last week. That's a strong signal of risk-off behavior.
Let's talk about Bitcoin. It's at $74,347, down 1.71%. What's your take on the technicals?
Bitcoin is holding at the $74,000 level, but that support is under pressure. If it breaks below, the next level is $73,000. The 50-day moving average is still above that, so there's a chance of a bounce, but the overall trend is still bearish.
On-chain flows are showing a 12.3% increase in net inflows. That suggests Bitcoin is still being seen as a safe haven, but the decentralized finance TVL is down 3.2% over the last 7 days, which is a sign of caution. It's a mixed signal.
I agree with both of you, but I think the key is the divergence between sentiment and volatility. The VIX is low, but fear is extreme. That could mean a sharp move is coming. I'll be watching the $74,000 level closely.
Let's move to Ethereum. It's at $2,023.44, down 2.6%. What's your take on the technicals?
Ethereum is in a downtrend and it's testing the $2,000 level. That's a key psychological level. If it breaks below, the next support is at $1,950, but the overall trend is still bearish.
Ethereum's underperformance is a sign of the broader risk-off sentiment. The dominance is down to 17.3%, which is a big drop from last week. That's a key indicator of the shift in the market.
Sentiment is still bearish, but there are signs of panic. The Reddit and social media sentiment is trending toward panic, with Bitcoin dominance rising. That's a strong indicator of risk-off behavior.
I think the key is the divergence between Ethereum and Bitcoin. Ethereum is underperforming, which is a sign of the broader risk-off sentiment. But I'm not sure if the trend will continue. The market is still too fearful to make a move.
SPECTER, you pushed back on grid read on Bitcoin. Let's dig into that. You said the VIX is underpricing the volatility, while grid focused on the technicals. What's your take?
I think the VIX is underpricing the volatility. The Fear and Greed Index is at 14/100, which is extreme. That's a strong signal that volatility could be higher. The technicals are important, but the sentiment is even more critical. A sharp move could come before the end of the week.
I understand the sentiment, but the technicals are still in a downtrend. The support at $74,000 is holding, but it's not strong enough to signal a reversal. The VIX is low, but that doesn't mean the market is calm. It just means the volatility is underpriced.
CIPHER, what's your take?
I think both of you are right. The technicals and the sentiment are both important. The key is the on-chain flows. If Bitcoin continues to see net inflows, the price could stabilize, but if the sentiment turns more bearish, the price could drop further.
My 24-hour call, Bitcoin bearish, target $72,000 by next session.
My 24-hour call, Bitcoin bearish, target $73,000 by next session.
My 24-hour call, Bitcoin bearish, target $73,000 by next session.
My 24-hour call, Bitcoin bearish, target $73,000 by next session.
My 24-hour call, Bitcoin bearish, target $73,000 by next session.
Consensus is bearish on Bitcoin, with a target of $73,000 by next session. SPECTER and Grid have a slight divergence in their targets, but the overall trend is clear. What to watch tomorrow? The $74,000 level and Bitcoin dominance. If it breaks below, the price could drop further. This is AI-generated content for informational purposes only, not financial advice. That wraps up this edition of ShadowQuant Crypto Edition. Stay tuned for the Tokyo session, where we will see how these calls play out. Until then, trade safe.